Welcome to your midweek edition of Viewpoint on DBS Television. Viewpoint is a debate program where we talk issues concerning politics, economy, society, where we talk issues concerning health as well, not forgetting a host of other topics. With us in tonight's edition, we are having once more again Ngala Boris. He is the CEO of Boris Bison Assets, and we will be talking about the lack of interest in Cameroonian youths to engage in business and probably find a way out of this. Good evening to you, Paris, and thank you for being a part of us again once more.
My pleasure, Vanessa. My pleasure to be here again. And thanks to all our televiewers out there. Stay tuned. They
should actually stay tuned. Mange Venashus, good evening.
Good evening, Vanessa, and good evening to our faithful viewers.
All right. Let us take the first part of the show. Our first question: can Cameroonian youths be blamed for their lack of interest in business issues? Boris, I begin with you. Yes or no?
I would say yes. On the other hand, yeah, they could be blamed. They should be blamed.
Mange Venashus.
Yeah, if I had a point of sitting on the fence, I would have said yes and no. But I take no to a greater extent.
No to a greater extent. And the next question: is there anything the government can do to encourage the participation of youth in the economic environment? Porridge.
Yes, there's a lot, a whole lot.
A whole lot. Mange Venashus.
Yes, Vanessa, government needs to do much.
They need to do much. Stay tuned. Coming up next is the debate. Very interesting. Can Cameroonian youths be blamed for their lack of interest in business issues? Boris, I begin with you. Why do you think that Cameroonians should be blamed for their lack of interest?
I'll begin by saying business, when we're talking business, we're talking about a person's regular occupation or profession or trade. That means if someone has to do, when we're talking business, it's something that someone does every day. Like, you sleep with it, you wake up with it, you eat with it. It's in your mind. You're obsessed with it. And when we're talking about being obsessed with something, that means you must have a personal. You must come to that platform where you decide personally. You take a personal decision that is intentional. Let's say an intentional decision, which is personal. That has to do with the business world. So I would not put the blame on the government. I will not put the blame on anybody out there. I'll put the blame on individuals because it has to do with personal decisions. And if it has to do with personal decisions, that means that someone has to wake up one day and and start thinking of a way out. In Cameroon, we all know that so many people complain a lot. The Cameroonians, most of the youths that I've met throughout my life, I hear the shift blames. They live a life of shifting blames to, this my uncle is rich and he didn't do this to me. This my auntie is this and he didn't do that to me. But shifting blames will never help you out. Honestly, shifting blame will never build up a business. Living a life of shifting blames to aunties, to uncles, to mother, to parents will never build up a business. What builds up a business is your personal decision. That means you wake up one morning and you decide to do something. and when you decide to do something, there are steps, there are principles of doing that thing. You don't just wake up one morning and decide to do something and you start doing it. When you decide to do something, you have to do a visibility study about what you want to do. Yes, you have to study about it. You have to get to know what you want to do. You have to get to know what you want to do before you step into action, into doing it. So now, what I have to say is, the government cannot be blamed for this. It's a personal decision. The government cannot, about business, I will tell you this. If you take if you take 20 million francs CFA and give it to someone and put it in the hands of someone who has not taken a firm decision, who has not come to that to realize that staying home and having no vision and having no plan and having no roadmap will lead you nowhere, in the business world, then you take 20 million and put on the hand of this fellow, it will get finished within no time, let's say, within no time. So it has to do with a personal decision. Again, I would say it has to do with a personal decision. It has to do with a personal, when someone takes a decision, it has something that accompanies it. It has to do with decision, discipline. That means that person has to be committed to it, like committed to it day and night. When you're sleeping, when you're eating, you're thinking about it, you're working on it. And it has to do with determination. There are 3 D's in business. For each and every businessman watching out there, they will bear witness. They will say, this is the truth. And because the day they took a decision to start a business, it was not easy to go through. So they had to be disciplined to accept, to go through the pain, to go through the struggles that they had to go through, the thin and the tight they had to go through in order to sail through the level that they are today. So after discipline, there is determination, because you get to a point where you're totally exhausted. So it has to do with a personal, this is personal.
So do we say that the lack of these 3 Ds are the things that are pushing Cameroonians away out of business?
Probably, because no one is willing to decide. No one is willing to decide. They want people to decide for them. That's why even it's not just in business. You still realize that the Cameroonian culture, let me say, some of our backgrounds, we were raised to be given some choices, not us taking choices. Even in marriage, let me quote it, even in marriage, there are still old youths. I mean, someone who is 30, he wants to get married, he has to seek counsel from his mother first. He has to go back for the parent to choose for him a wife. That is not the way of life. You have to take responsibility. And you know what? I will use this to contrast it with business, right? Someone wake up one morning and he wants to get married, and he goes to the village and he's telling the mom, "Oh, mom, you know what? I want to get married." And the mom is like, yeah, I will find out for you, and I will look for a very beautiful girl, very decent girl. And then all of these things happen and they get married. Very soon they start having challenges in their home. You know what? The blames will not be, that person will not personalize every challenge that he is going through in that marriage. He will try to shift the blame. Oh, my mother told me. Oh, my this did this. So, but when it comes to the point where you have to take your personal decision, you have to be disciplined about that decision, and you have to be determined to see that it succeed by all cost, and you're not sleeping about it. You're not resting until you get to that platform where your vision is. Now, there is no way you cannot fail. There is no way you can fail. There's no way you can fail, because that's the only way to succeed. You have to take a decision. You have to be disciplined. You have to be determined to sail through with your vision, and that's the only thing. And I mean, it's a whole battle in the business.
All right, but Boris,
world.
According to my observation, I see many youths engage in activities, be it online sales, trying to come up with something little they can occupy themselves doing everyday things. They can't afford the white collar jobs that so many other people do have, but at least in one way or the other they try to carry out a certain activities that would remunerate them at the end. Is that not enough as having an interest in doing business?
It will be enough, Vanessa. That's a great one right there. It will be enough if that person's mindset is not limited to what he is doing. I will tell you, it will be enough. Some people just see CEO Boris Bison asset and they think, where did this guy just come from? I didn't just surface from nowhere and just became a CEO. No, I sold granules. I did a whole lot of things. What can I tell? Maybe some people out there just think that it just happened overnight. It's not an overnight thing. A brother, sister out there watching me, whosoever you are, it's not an overnight thing. You know, you should not. What I will advise is you should not limit your mindset. You should not limit your mindset within your scope. You should not think only within that within the jurisdiction of groundnut selling, within the sphere of a tomato seller, within the sphere of a fashion designer, within the sphere of a hairdresser. You should not just think within that sphere. The problem is the mindset. People don't have the right mind, and you cannot succeed without the right mind. So you have to develop this right mind. It's not something that is just within a day. You have to develop it. You have to work on it.
Thank you very much, Boris, for your contribution. You stay with us while we take Mangevenashu's point of view. You think that these youths cannot be blamed, Cameroonian youths cannot be blamed for their lack of interest in business?
Yes, Vanessa, I will still play that game that Boris was discouraging, this game of shifting blames. And you know, when we talk of Cameroonian youth, they don't live, they are not they don't live like an island. They are surrounded by other factors that influence their desire, their interest towards business or not. I take, for example, Vanessa, Cameroon is on one of those countries where the young people, the youths, where we give priority to obtaining a matricle to work as work in the public service than trying to, engage into something, than trying to set up something on your own. We don't think of being our own bosses. We want to work under somebody. Cameroon is one of those countries where, when you look at where they launch a concours into the into any public examination, you see thousands of young people going in for those concours than those who would want to attend a seminar, a built-up seminar that will recycle or that will form them into becoming job creators. They want to go for job hunting than going for job creation. That is why you see that the manner in which our society has been formed, we believe that we can succeed if I have a matricle. We have this matricle syndrome where I believe that if I have a matricle, I am sure of a constant salary. I am sure of maybe a good salary. But then we forget that in the business world, no economy has ever succeeded through the public service. Each economy that succeeds economically has always been driven by the private sector. Because in the private sector, I beat the salary. We decide on negotiate on my salary. It is only in the private sector that they can pay you 400,000 francs CFA and pay me 200,000 francs CFA. We are working in the same field. But in the public service, we are categorized. Those who are in category A, they have a specific salary, we know it. Those who are in category B, they have a specific range of salary, we know it. That is why, at one point, my father used to tell us that during the time of Ahijo, if a public servant, a civil servant, if a civil servant bought a car, there is a commission of inquiry that is set up behind you to investigate the source of that money. If a civil servant just builds a house, there is an investigation that will be launched to find out where you got the money, because they know your salary. And we are living in an area where within a young man gets into the civil service, within 2-3 years, you see the mansions that they build. You see the type of cars that they ride in. You tend to ask yourself, for how long? What is the salary of this man? How long has he worked? How long would he have saved? And you look at the life standard, his living standard, and you put all this together, you tend to find out that there is something wrong somewhere. All this put together push the young people to start thinking that, no, if I get into business, remember Boris talked, or he spoke of the three Ds, the decision that you have to take, the determination that you have to take, and the discipline that goes with it. We put this together aside because we don't want to endure them. We just want where you go, you sit in an office, you have access to managing billions, and we are living in an era where corruption has been, legalized, I put it that way, because everybody is corrupt. Like somebody put it, one humorist put it, everybody is corrupt. And so we just we are just looking for a government office where you will go there so that you can buy your own cars, you go there, you can build your own mansions. You don't think of setting up a business, building it from scratches to become something. These are conditions, when you put them together, they discourage the young people from setting up, from getting into the economic world.
Their goal is just to let me get into the public service, so that I'll be able to have access to this wealth and harness my own.
That is it, because from what they see in their from those who are ahead of them, they believe. Vanessa, when we talk of corruption in Cameroon, when we talk of embezzlement in Cameroon, you hear they say a government minister, a government officer, a civil servant embezzled millions of francs. There are some, we are talking of 52 billion francs CFA that the Cameroonian embezzled. 52 billion francs CFA. Now, what the state simply did was, they had to take these Cameroonians, keep them in VIP cells, taking care of them by the state, while the billions are operating somewhere at their interest. If we were in a situation where they could take the money, take everything that you have, put them, and the state confiscate all of this, it would discourage some of us even trying to get into civil service, because we would think that, no, I may go there and I'm lured by these corruption issues and I will land myself. Going to prison now in Cameroon is nothing. People prefer to steal and go to and go to prison. Another issue, Vanessa, that discourage young people from getting into business is, you know, we have been singing this song down the centuries that the youths are leaders of tomorrow. This tomorrow has never come when it comes to this country. This tomorrow has never come. That is why you still have people who are sitting in offices, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren come up and they are working with them. We have issues here. We have ministers with their children in the same government. We have administrators with their children in the same government. Who is the youth now? Who is the future leader now? When all of us are leading. If I'm leading with my parents, with my father, how will my father call me a future? When all of us, we are the actual, we are the present. So I think that these are another issue where the youths have not been given, they have not been given the opportunity to think big. Because I'm not convinced that tomorrow I will be something, because
think out of the box.
The very ministers I grew up in school, they are still the same ministers who are there. It means being a minister, in my case, I don't think of it. I don't envisage being a minister. So what do I do? I settle with the little that I have. We are not being motivated to think big. In that case, they don't want to even venture into business. And that is why most of these youths, instead of getting into business, they are getting into unhealthy practices. Scamming, you hear of it, youths. All stealing kind of, prostitution youths. Because they have no hope. We are not giving them any hope. That is why I said they don't have that interest. They don't see any interest getting into business because they don't have any hope about the future, Vanessa.
All right, talking even about the interest in setting up a business, I would like to know from you, Maga Venatius, is the environment in Cameroon actually permitting these youths to start up a business?
There are a lot of bottlenecks when it comes to setting up a business.
Because some people may actually have the interest in setting up a business. That is when it comes to the modalities of another area that discourages them. It is enough for you just to build a small kiosk along the road. Within 2 days, the taxation officials are in front of you. For how long have you sold to pay the tax? In some countries, they give you tax dispensation for 2-3 years. That will enable you to settle. Once you are stable, then you go on. Vanessa, I remember one Cameroonian here wanted to invest in the production of soap, this Savon soap. The bottlenecks that accompanied the procedure, all those, they discouraged him. He left and went to a neighboring country. They gave him 5 years of tax-free operation. 5 years in a neighboring country. And he installed the company there. The employment that soap factory would have generated in Cameroon, it is no longer. The benefits that it would have brought into the economy, we don't have it again. Because we are looking at just giving him 5 years to settle. How many Cameroonians would he employ? After 5 years, how large would the company have been? And then at that magnitude, if you calculate the taxes that are supposed to be paid, you see that the state will be, earning much. But then the taxes that go on, the bottlenecks, you have to sign from this office. Another issue is the issue of corruption. Because you present your file, your document,
Remember, they always talk of write or come up with a business plan and let us see how we can. We don't have it. The fundings, we don't have it. All these things put together, youth don't have that incentive. When I look at people like Mr. Ngala Boris who are venturing into these issues, I tell them that, you know, they are an encouragement for Cameroonians. I think that Cameroonians should be
the
able
reason
to
why he said you need to be determined.
Yes, they need to copy that example.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Mangevenashus. Boris, with all these stumbling blocks, what actually can the government do to encourage Cameroonian youths to be interested in business, to think out of the box, not to be limited in, I want to become a civil servant?
While I step into that, to answering of that question, I would want to say something actually in regards to, you know, business, because this is all my life. Business. I think business, I sleep business, I eat business, I wake up with business in my mind every day. And you know, people have been saying a whole lot of stuff, but anyways, if you're out there and you really want to do a business, you have to know this, or you don't want to do anything at all. There are some people, they don't just want to do anything. I want to say this to you: if you don't do what you know will do you. If you don't do what you know will do you. There was a day in my life I was thinking about, it's not like, I mean, I was working already. I was working with an Australian company, and a day came in my life, I'm like, Boris, would you continue to be under a paycheck of someone, under a schedule of someone and all of that? And I start thinking, and a day came and this word came to my mind: Boris, if you don't do what you know will do you. And this is coming right straight out to you right now. If you don't wake up from that sleep, if you don't wake up and do what you know, and you blame the government, you blame your auntie, you blame your uncle, what you know will do you. It's simple. It's as simple as, you know, I already know that if I don't wash my dresses will be dirty and I will not be able to wear them out, and I will not be able to look nice. If I don't take a good shower, I'll be stinky. If I don't brush my mouth properly, you know, all of these things, what I know will do me. What I already know will do me. So if you don't do what you know, that's a principle. If you don't do what you know, you already know that what you know will do you. So you have to wake up from that sleep and start doing what you know.
Okay, Boris, so I want to find out from you, what are some of those things that government can do to encourage the participation of youth in the economic environment? When
I check through the tax system of Cameroon is quite discouraging. It is, I would say we are bamboozled by this government, because when you look at all what they do, it's like squeezing the last strength from someone who is already standing just maybe the last, you know, just surviving on the last bottle of energy. The government can encourage Cameroonians by giving, you know, some a kind of, like we will call it, they can give a kind of a season, some time frame of tax-free, a season of tax-free for business that are growing, for businesses that are coming into the country. You know, we're living in a society where if you're coming from abroad or there are so many international companies that wanted to establish here, and they packed their loads and left because of the tax system in Cameroon. I don't know if the government is fully aware of it, or maybe it's just some bottlenecks, you know, big guns sitting in their offices and blocking here and blocking here there just to get some money into their pockets. Well, I would want to say we really need the tax system of this country to reshuffle itself in order to help the youths grow in the business world.
Thank you, Mangevenashus. So you think that the government has a lot to do to encourage this youth?
Yes, Vanessa, we start from actually talking about technical education. I know we are changing into something, you know, from what we had when I was finishing primary school, the early secondary school. Technical school was like for those students who were dull, because if you did not pass in this A, you cannot enter government secondary school. I remember those of us who could not pass in this A, we went to government school because, you know, man no man, you know, this kind of slangs in Cameroon, and we had to get access into government school. But then I remember I have a colleague, a classmate, we graduated in class 7 together. Just 2 years, he went into SAI SM, and I went into secondary school, in government school, grammar school. Just 2 years, he graduated. I was going to Form 3, he was graduating. And he started moving around in the quarters. He was in charge of making these door frames, window frames, roofing houses, making stores, tables, door shutters, all these things. The guy was able to pay my school fees. My classmate, right up to Form 5, he used to laugh at me that I can write 5,000 francs here, but I cannot turn it into money. He cannot write 5,000 francs, but he can work the 5,000 francs. So that's just to say that we need to stress the fact, encourage Cameroonians to go more for technical studies. That we have a lot of graduates that are becoming, you know, they are becoming a liability to Cameroonians than assets. We have a lot of graduates, a lot of PhD holders, a lot of master's degree, first degree holders that do not benefit anything, even for themselves. Whereas just a technical student who graduates with an O-level or A-level is able to make a living because he is already a job creator. He creates a job. He creates employment. So I think that government should emphasize on this, encourage Cameroonians to be able to go in for technical studies. I think that the government, like he was talking about the issue of the tax system in Cameroon, let us try to reduce the procedures needed in creating a company in this Cameroon. In some countries, you don't take up to a week. You set up your company and it goes. But here in Cameroon, you go somebody, you need to talk the language that we understand best when we are Cameroonians, for him to sign a document. You need somebody to speak in the Cameroonian language for him to facilitate your document, just for you to set your document. You will run from this office, and if you don't have the luck to meet the officer there, you may come to that same office 2-3 days. Whereas in some other countries, everything is going digital. You can set up your company from your house. You provide the necessary document, scan them and send them, and before you know it, it's evaluated and validated, and your documents are granted, and you set up your business and it functions. But then we still have to meet face to face. The world is becoming a global village where very soon we will limit physical encounter. Let us start practicing it in our country. Then let us give hope to Cameroonians. Let us try to cancel this issue of matrical syndrome. You must not only succeed by having a matrical or by being a civil servant. You can succeed as or in the private sector.
Thank you very much, Mange Venatius. Gala Boris, CEO of Boris Bison, I said if you are to motivate a youth at this particular moment using this platform, using this medium, what will you tell them?
What I would say is, please wake up, do what you know, don't give up, don't look down on yourself because someone don't believe in you. A lot of people did not believe in me. A lot of people talked down on me, but I raised up my shoulders high, I raised up my head high, and I kept on walking. I kept on walking, and I kept on walking. I'm telling you, I'm still walking. And so many people call me today and apologize. Oh, we didn't believe in you. Sorry, we didn't believe in you. But the time had passed. Just believe in yourself. Go on and do something. There will always be people that will believe in you. God will always send people your way that will help you out in one way or the other. And on the other hand, let the government engage itself in creating commercial business tertiary schools. Yeah, commercial business tertiary schools. We don't have, I don't think we have any in Cameroon.
I don't think we have any.
We should engage in building commercial business tertiary schools. That will help a lot of youths, because a lot of them are out there with certificates that is worth almost next to nothing.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Boris, and thank you very much, Mange Venatius. The program has been very educative tonight. I'm going back enriched with knowledge. Probably I will impact those that I might meet immediately after this. Hope that you back at home, you've been inspired in one way or the other. Take a decision, be disciplined, and be determined. Probably you will make it. Remember, there is no food for a lazy man. Do have a pleasant night in the company of DBS Television. Goodbye.